everyone, the Manga Mushroom is back in the month of Spoopy, and as most of you know, I greatly enjoy horror and terror, even in the manga form. You see, Japanese horror is a little different from American horror. For one, they're really into ghosts female ghosts with hair covering their face, urban legends, and body distortion. I see a lot of this in series like Fuan no Tane, Little Red Book, Zekyo Gakyu, Hell Girl, The Horror Mansion. Now all those have something in common, and that is that they are all a collection of short stories. So why don't we start this off with the master of horror shorts himself, Junji Ito. Ito is probably one of the better known horror mangakas these days. He specializes in horror shorts, but he's probably best known for the 3-volume long Uzumaki. Uzumaki was first published by Viz in the early millennia, but was later re-released in 2007, which is when my classmates and I discovered it. It was literally like the creepiest, weirdest thing I had ever read. Like, I had never seen anything like that. Now I feel a little desensitized because I read that kind of stuff all the time. But Uzumaki shot off in popularity and got a live-action film version and even a couple of simulation games. It continues today to be his most popular work. But going back on those stories, it almost seems like there's a form of comedy to them. I really don't find it that surprising since Ito used to make comedy comics before horror. But I always think it's a nice addition with all the horrific disfigurements. The comedy aspect also doesn't smack you in the face either, because all the stories are still very odd and remain in the uncanny valley. Almost every Ito story has the same distorted and claustrophobic feel, the same humid and stench-drenched environment. And I think it was best used in his 2-volume series that was released at the same time as Uzumaki, Gyo. Gyo centers around young couple Tadashi and Kaori on vacation in Okinawa at Tadashi's uncle's summer home. Everything seems to be going fine as far as vacations and couples arguments go when suddenly this thing appears. A fish with insect-like legs. The fish move at a scurrying speed and carry a strong odor of death with them. Soon, more and more of these walking fish make their way onto the Okinawan shore and eventually into Tokyo. Not only are they terrifying and odorous, but they carry a disease that infects humans in a corpse-like manner. Now, there aren't many characters to get to know. Actually, there's only 4 you can really study. Tadashi, Kaori, Tadashi's uncle Koyanagi, and his assistant. Uncle Koyanagi fits the basic curious mad scientist type, even going as far as experimenting on the walking fish phenomenon with humans. Tadashi's a little bland in character, which sucks because he's actually the main character. His driving force in the story overall is to protect his girlfriend, Kaori, who is possibly the best character in the series. Kaori might be called a little high maintenance. She's constantly complaining in the beginning that the smell of the Okinawan sea air is making her sick. She has an extremely sensitive sense of smell, and she won't even kiss Tadashi unless he brushes his teeth beforehand. She's always the first to smell the walking fish even before they show up. Her sensitive nose is due to the fact that she walked in on her dead, decaying father when she was younger and cannot ever forget the stench of death. She also has abandonment issues because of it and fluctuates between wanting to leave Tadashi and not wanting him to leave her. Some might call her annoying, but she has the most personality than anyone in the series, and like I said before, her status is the driving force of the main character, Tadashi. Overall, Gyo is like your basic zombie survival series, except instead of humans that are getting reanimated by an infectious disease, it's fish that are getting reanimated in a weird kind of germy walky thing. Either way, society is infected and then we run ourselves into the ground. Now, I do have to mention that Gyo does have an hour-long OVA. It's a true adaptation with the inclusion of new characters like Kaori's friends and the reporter, and a complete role reversal of Kaori and Tadashi, where she is the main character instead. That was actually a good idea on their part. I've already said that she's the most interesting character, so making the story revolve around her abandonment issue and her strive to get back to Tadashi was really good. Though she's not as anal in this one because, well, survival's more important and she doesn't really have anybody familiar to rely on. The only thing is that Ito's art style is nearly nowhere in this adaptation. I can't really explain it through words, but his art really sticks out to you. You always know when it's his drawings. His worried expressions, those distorted bodies, those gorgeous profiles. Instead, we get this generic-looking bull crap. The only person who looks like they're in their original style is Dr. Koyanagi, and he almost looks out of place because of it, because nobody else looks like that. Also, the fish are CG. Why? Even though there's a lot of things that I do not like about the OVA, I can't say I exactly hate it. I'd say that the manga and the OVA have their similar charms to it, but I would stick with the manga because Junji Ito's style is so disturbing and it makes me physically uncomfortable at times. And I don't know what he did with the stench scenes, with the spirits and stuff. It just the anime could not do it justice. It looks so much better in manga form. It's kind of weird that I put this above Uzumaki, or even Tomi for that matter, because that's a really good series too. I only do because I feel like Ito's stories always have people being hypnotized or drawn to an evil, but Gyo is one of the few that seems to act a little more rationally about these dark situations. It's a nice change, and I hope to see an even amount of it along with the mesmerized works. The only thing I really don't care for is probably the ending, where the story ends where the real adventure should begin. But Ito always likes to leave his stories open for interpretation, to leave the audience wondering what they think happened to them. So it comes off as almost something I would expect from him. Gyo has been collected into one volume by Viz Media, so if you are into horror or Junji Ito's work, I would greatly recommend it. And if you guys have any horror suggestions for this spooky month, please put them in the comments below. Thank you for tuning into my favorite manga, and I will see you all next time.
Sometimes when you're really awkward, you do awkward things. So I'm gonna tell you what I've been doing lately. I've been turning everything into a landshark. What's a landshark? It's a shark that's on land, motherfucker. If you want to turn yourself into a landshark, you're gonna need a hand. And if you don't have one, then you're